Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Crowds of Iranians march through the streets of Tehran in a funeral procession for slain leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The biggest day yet in a week of massive memorial ceremonies, demonstrating the grip of surviving clerical leaders. Drone footage on state television showed many tens of thousands of people crammed into a boulevard in central Tehran. As they passed under a bridge, mourners hurled stones at a billboard hung from above, showing US President Donald Trump with a bullet aimed at his head. Others held aloft posters with the faces of Trump, Vice President JD Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, or Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, each depicted in the crosshairs of a gunsight, with the words, "There will be blood." 3 sons of slain Iranian leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei prayed beside his coffin and those of 4 other family members. But Mujtaba, the son who succeeded him as Iran's supreme leader, did not make an appearance. State TV showed Mustafa, Maysam and Masoud Khamenei praying behind the coffins laid out in the vast courtyard of Tehran's Imam Khomeini Grand Musalla. On Sunday, tens of thousands more mourners, including soldiers, seminary students and ordinary men and women, filed into the Musalla to pay their respects to Khamenei and his family. Funeral prayers for Iran's late supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, were held in Tehran on Sunday, with massive crowds gathering as the country entered its second day of nationwide mourning. The prayers, held at the Imam Khomeini Grand Musalla, were also offered for 4 members of Khamenei's family, killed alongside him. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bakir Kalibaf, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and other senior officials attended the ceremony. Iran has declared a public holiday as mourners continue to arrive from across the country. Funeral processions will continue in Tehran and Qom before Khamenei is scheduled to be buried in Mashhad later this week. Heavy security has been deployed around all major funeral venues. Hamas has announced the end of its government in Gaza, clearing the way for a Palestinian technocratic committee to take over civilian administration after nearly 2 decades of Hamas rule. Hamas officials said the group is preparing to dissolve the body that has governed the Gaza Strip for almost 20 years. It said the decision will pave the way for the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, also known as the Palestinian Technocratic Committee, to assume civilian responsibilities. The committee is headed by Palestinian official Ali Sharth and was formed with the support of the Board of Peace, which was established by US President Donald Trump after he brokered the Gaza ceasefire last October. 25 people have been killed and about 100 injured in clashes between 2 groups of prisoners at a prison in Sri Lanka. 2 police sources and 1 hospital source told Reuters the clashes began on Sunday between convicted prisoners and those under detention at the prison in the coastal town of Negombo. The trigger for the clashes was not immediately known. Police sources said that areas within the prison were still being cleared, with officials working to account for the dead and the injured. Prince Harry will not stay at Buckingham Palace during his stay in Britain this week, despite a spokesman for the King's second son telling media on Monday that he had accepted an invitation to do so. The BBC reported that Harry had not formally responded to the offer of royal accommodation at a royal residence by a deadline, and was told over the weekend that he could no longer stay at Buckingham Palace in central London. China's military has test-fired a missile from a nuclear submarine into the Pacific, drawing criticism and concerns from Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. State media reported that a nuclear submarine of the People's Liberation Army Navy launched the missile, carrying a dummy warhead toward international waters in the Pacific. The missile landed in designated waters, it added, without giving further details of the location. Xinhua described the launch as a routine arrangement of China's annual military training and said it was not directed against any specific country or target. OPEC Plus has approved another increase in oil production targets from August, adding 188,000 barrels per day as crude prices remain under pressure following the gradual reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. The decision, announced after an online meeting, follows similar output increases in June and July as the producer group continues easing supply restrictions.
President Trump claims the United States chose not to target senior Iranian officials gathered at the funeral of former Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei to keep diplomatic negotiations with Tehran alive. In an interview cited by Axios, Trump said the U.S. could have struck Iran's leadership during the funeral, but decided against it because we would have nobody to negotiate with. He also claimed Iran was begging to make a deal following recent military tensions. Trump said both sides agreed to pause nuclear talks for about a week during the funeral period and suggested the public mourning for Khamenei may not reflect genuine public sentiment.
Russian missiles and drones have struck Kyiv, killing at least 9 people and heavily damaging apartment blocks and other buildings, just a few days after the deadliest assault on the Ukrainian capital this year. Kyiv's mayor, Vitaly Klitschko, said on Telegram rescue crews were pulling residents from buildings shattered by the overnight barrage. Timur Tkachenko, head of the city's military administration, said the death toll in the capital rose to 9, with 46 people wounded throughout the city. The United States World Cup campaign has taken an extraordinary turn when FIFA made the unprecedented decision to suspend Folarin Balogun's automatic red card ban, clearing the striker to face Belgium in Monday's last 16 clash after US President Donald Trump personally urged FIFA President Gianni Infantino to review the case. The move thrust FIFA's disciplinary process into the global spotlight, prompted an angry response from Belgium, and ensured that one of this tournament's biggest talking points would centre on the relationship between football's governing body and political power. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.